Oh, Eragon. Yeah, talking about the film adaptation of the book Eragon. That was like a big trilogy back in the early 2000s. It was released December 13th, 2006 from Fox 2000 Pictures. Starring Ed Spellers, written by Peter Bushman, produced by John Davis and Wick Godfrey, and directed by Stephen Tangmeyer, who's more of a special effects guy. But this is the only film he's done, so yeah, that's odd. But it had a budget of $100 million, and it was moderate success of earning to today $250.4 million. It was a flop, especially in North America at least. Right when it came out, so that's why we didn't get the other two, which is fine because this film is pretty generic for a fantasy film. But yeah, so basically, you're following uh, a a young boy who finds a dragon egg and hatches it, and once it gets big enough, he sort of like first he takes it on as his pet, and then he learns to ride it, and then realizes that he's basically born to be a dragon rider, and where he can communicate with the dragon telepathically and stuff. And you're watching it's basically his coming of age story of becoming a dragon rider, and then realizing that he's going to have to use use the dragon to help defend against the evil king. That's one generic fantasy story. This is supposed to be a fantasy story for like the kiddie fantasy stuff, like Dragonheart, to Lord of the Rings. It's supposed to be like something to put in between, which sort of does that, but overall, this film I just find super generic. It's basically Reign of Fire but family friendly, with like Dragonheart stuff mixed into it, which everything's been done before in this. Yeah, the CG's good and stuff, but overall, you have bland characters who just follow the tropes of fantasy films, who yeah, and then they made the villain super dark looking, where overall he didn't need to be. Overall, he's just a king, and he looks like he's like Smeagol's dad or something like that. But yeah, overall, it wasn't that great. And if you watch the dragon scenes at the end with them flying, it's legit the exact same like style and way they did Rain of Fire stuff. And this also spawned a couple of the films I've actually Eragon's caused a big resurgence in cheap fantasy knockoff films. I've actually reviewed some of them, like Dragon Quest, Merlin, War of the Dragons, and that. This is what it's based off of. If you watch those and watch this, it's pretty much the same movie. Yeah, so if your high budget film is so basic that the Asylum and other low budget film companies can rip it off exact, that's a problem. Like, you clearly have no substance with the story, and clearly you can see why they didn't go on to make the trilogy, because it was too generic. Overall, I thought this film was pretty boring for the most part, and I never liked it when I first saw it, but it has its fans, I know that. But overall, I just thought it was super generic, nothing new. Besides an interesting new looking dragon and stuff, there's not much to go on. But I gotta say, one redeeming aspect of this film is the evil king's dragon. It looks awesome. I love the look of that, and the final fight scene was pretty interesting. But like I said, it's basically Reign of Fire with a little bit of Lord of the Rings like setting mixed in, with a whole pile of dragon heart antics and stuff thrown in there, which basically it's not far after Dragonheart, and it's coming on to the Lord, and it's not far from Lord of the Rings times. And basically, the film company was hoping this would be the next big Harry Potter boost, but clearly it wasn't, because I think a lot of people see it the same way I do. It's just your generic fantasy film, nothing special. So I was going to rate this. I'm only going to give this one a 2. It was pretty big bore for the most part, and didn't have anything interesting or new or anything for me to point out to make it worthwhile. So, yeah, Eragon, not for me. If you liked it, comment down below. Let me know. That'll be interesting to hear how many people actually like this film. Um, yeah, so another dud. What can I say? Um, but yeah, also if you have other films that are probably better than this that you want to hear my opinions on, comment those down below too. Make sure you like this video, share it if you really want to. Subscribe to my channel because you never know what films I'm going to talk about next. And also, if you haven't even heard of this movie, is a trailer link down below. Or if you just want to go back and revisit it because you haven't seen it since it was in theaters because it was so awful, the link's down below if you want to check it out. And also, my Instagram's always linked down below too, where I post clips of films and review in my story. So, and also look for I put the title and a hashtag small somewhere in the video. So see if you spot it. And guess what? I'm going to be reviewing next. Maybe even DM me. I'll let you know if it's right or not. So, yeah. But, Eragon, dud. I think it's time to go back to like the 1930s and 40s, back when movies were in the golden prime age. So, I think that's what I'm going to do. Try to find one of those to review next. So, hopefully the next one's better. But I'll see you in the next review.